Well, welcome back to the channel. I know I haven't posted in a while. Let's get this thing down. So if it's your first time to the channel, this is Zephyr, my 27-foot CNC, kind of a racer cruiser. I bought this boat like 2.5 years ago with the full intention of using it as my learning boat. I've really grown to like this boat a lot, and I've put a bunch of work in it. I've done a lot of little custom additions to it. I added solar panels, a battery monitoring system, LED lights inside and in the cockpit, red ones too, a brand new radio, and a handheld one too. I added 100 feet of anchor chain, and I made this custom shaped bow protector out of stainless steel and a lot of other stuff. And right now I'm in a weird situation in that I'm happy with the boat, but I've got what people refer to as 4-foot-itis. And what that means is that I somehow have become infected with the idea that I need a bigger boat, something around 4 feet longer. I've been looking at 30-footers, 31-footers, and 32-footers. But before we get too deep into this, got a little bit of a repair to do. I've emptied my cockpit locker because I've got to reinstall the transducer from my depth finder, because that transducer just came unglued from its original location. So I'm going to glue it in right here. And the transducer used to be in here, right next to where my cranking battery is, and where I keep a lot of stuff. And you can see the old footprint of it down there. But I was having some issues with the depth sounder, sort of intermittently giving me depths. That's a problem. So it just gives me those 3 dashed lines. And of course, I've done some testing to make sure when I plug it in and I drop it in the water, I get a nice accurate reading out of about 10 or 11 feet, which is exact for right here. Whew, it's a hot day, and I apologize for the background noise, but I'm only probably less than 100 yards away from a major interstate. It's not ideal, but I don't live aboard, so it's not a big price to pay for a nice, secure little slip. Now, first, before you attempt to do this kind of installation, which essentially is an in-hull installation where you don't drill any holes, which is my favorite way to do it, because if you're not worried about water temperature, this is the least invasive way to do it. You don't have to run a big fat cable through a transom, and you don't have to drill a hole through your hull. Make sure that this spot is going to work. I'm going to do the water bag trick, and this is just a really flimsy bag. You got to use a really flimsy plastic bag. I'm going to put this right on the spot and put the transducer inside, and hopefully we'll get a reading. Now, I've already sanded that area just a little bit just to get the paint off, and I'm just going to wet it just so any of the little pores have a little water on it. I'll put the bag right on top of that spot. I'll put the transducer in there, make sure it's in the deep part of the water, and sitting sort of flat and on the spot that I want it. All right, let's take a look. And we have got a signal. It's showing the 10 to 11 foot, just like we got in the water. Okay, I've dried it off, and now I'm just going to give it a little sanding. And I'm just using like 60 grit paper just to create a relatively smooth area here. I just don't want any big spikes of old resin or anything, because what I'm going to do is fill the space between the hull and the transducer with some polyester resin. So back down in the cabin here, out of the sun, I'm going to take this plastic measuring cup, and I'm going to cut it off so there's only maybe 3/4 of an inch from the top rim up. I don't need the bottom of it. I'm going to use this as a mold, and that's what the cut looks like. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now I'm going to take a little bit of butyl tape, and I'm going to rim the bottom because I'm going to seal it to the hull. And just eyeball the circumference, and I think I got it just right. All right, now I can stick this to the hull right where I'm going to pour that resin. I'm going to take some denatured alcohol and clean that spot really good before I put this on, and especially before I pour that resin in. That feels really nice and smooth down there. And we'll center this right there and make sure that it's going to seat and be watertight, or at least resin tight. So I'm going to do this in 2 pours. I'm going to pour just a tiny little bit to cover the bottom, and that should leave me a nice level surface. I'll let that set. That'll take about 20 minutes, and then I'll pour in another 1/8 inch or so of resin and set my transducer on top of it and weight it down. And in about an hour, we should be ready to go sailing. Now, I started this channel to document my personal path into sailing again. I used to sail way back when, about 30 years ago. And so I wanted to document the learning process of getting a larger boat, what the challenges are, and what my personal challenges are. That's why the channel is called Sailing in Real Life. It's not a bunch of, beautiful beaches and bikinis. It's mostly muddy water and me struggling to try to get out into the ocean with this little boat. So the question right now for me is this boat holding me back, or am I holding me back? Should I get a bigger boat? That will be not only easier to get into bigger water with, but it also give me incentive, because I'll have spent a lot more money and I'll feel that pressure to really push myself a little more. I don't really know, there's a lot of sort of personal feelings and self-doubt and questioning whether, is this a wise thing to do? Should I be doing this? Should I be spending a lot of money at this point in my life to try to go and sail long distances? Or should I just rent an Airbnb in Aruba and just fly there? I've always told everyone that I've talked to about this is that I'm into it for the sailing. If I want to be somewhere, I'll just fly there. So I'm kind of hanging myself off of that. I want to sail, and I want to sail long distances. I want to leave one place and arrive in another. And I do think that this boat makes it not impossible. Certainly, people have sailed much more marginal craft than this to much greater distances that I'm aspiring to. But what I feel is that there's a lack of sort of comfort, and that comfort is part of what I'm looking for in the experience. I want to feel comfortable and secure. I want to feel like I've got a really good partner in the boat and not something that I have to fear will fail me. I have been looking at some boats. Let me show you what I've been looking at. You guys check it out while I mix some resin. The first boat was this Cape Dory 30 Mark II. It was really pretty and in nice shape, but I got cold feet when I heard that the motor had some issues. The galley, it does have the original refrigeration, apparently works. 2-burner stove that's gimbaled. The cushions have okay covering. This side is a little worn. The woodwork, really nice, still in very good shape. It does have a diesel heater, sound system in here, quality thermometer, and some older electronics. Walk through. This is the head, and this is kind of nice. It's got a little separated shower area that's kind of rare on a 30-footer. And the typical V-berth, kind of small, with storage space pretty much all over the place. Pretty wide for a small boat. It's got a hatch right over the V-berth, which is nice. Hatches, opening hatches, and non-opening hatches, glass. This is a pilot berth, looks pretty comfy. It's got lots of canvas. Cockpit's pretty open for a small boat. These are nice pods. This is not working, but these apparently still work. The Bimini connects to the Dodger, and we've got solar on top. We've got a self-steering vane in the back. Most of the bright work is in really good shape. A little bit of the outside stuff needs a little bit of care. The winches they're all self-tailing. They seem to be in decent shape. Got a Genoa track, nice wide companionway here. Turtle hatch, all this stuff looks in really nice shape. Everything's run to the back, clutches, a ton of them to label those. It's a nice stainless steel. The main, it's got a fiberglass, a boom jack, and this thing looks like it's really robust and it's in good shape. Running rigging doesn't look it's been around for very long. And as we walk forward, you can see that this is the kind of bright work stuff that's kind of due. There are some areas of crazing, and this hatch needs to be pulled, rebedded, and both the deck top hatches need new lenses. The side ports are bronze, they're heavy duty, and the bowsprit is looking really nice. Somebody has recently done it up. Now there's no windlass, but there's space for a windlass anyway, to find a way to put one in. It is cutter rigged. There's radar. Does the radar work?
I would have to
check in. Okay. And both forward sails are on roller furlings. It's got a Rockna anchor. Not exactly sure how much chain. The decks are pretty wide actually pretty comfy to walk through. Definitely nicer than mine, and pretty nice. There's a spinnaker pole there, or whisker pole. And it's starting to rain, so we're gonna have to call this short.
The next boat I went to see was a 32-foot Ericsson, and it was in decent shape, but had some issues.
Alright, so here we are on the Ericsson 32200. It's a 1990 model. It has the aft cabin design. So you have double berth back here, opening hatches. Almost all the hatches are pretty crazed. You can see a little discoloration right here. I'm not sure it shows. It does have a keel step mast, and the cabin sole shows some discoloration from water. It's not horrible, nothing that's actually sort of buckled up or done anything crazy. It's got your standard settees. These are really long. I'm gonna say they're about this one is at least close to 8 feet long. There's a little extendable table here. It's got the big double leaf dining table here and here. Most of the wood is in nice shape. It needs a little bit of care, some cleaning up. All this is sun bleaching. It's got an aft head, which is in very nice condition, pretty clean. Little hanging locker right here, and here's the nav desk, and then under that is a big ice box. It's a standard ICOM and stereo. There is an air conditioner. It is a retrofitted air conditioner. You can see the plumbing and actually ducting going through. It's a little rough, and thermostat, and that's the propane controller. Engine housing is right there. Really good access to the engine from there and from. That's the engine. All right, so here we are at the helm. Really oversized wheel. The electronics are here. Not sure how functional they are. They're definitely old. We've got self-tailing winches pretty much everywhere. We've got 4 on the cabin top, and then the working jib sheet winches. Also big, this really big bridge deck. It's pretty interesting. We've got pretty nice fabric on this thing. The canvas, there has to be a little sewing done here, but the bimini's in decent shape. The lifelines are the old style, and it's showing some rust, so those would have to be replaced. Most of the wood is halfway on this way to go back to going gray, which is fine with me. I don't want teak with anything on it. Rather have it gray. The Traveler running rigging is done. The Vang is in decent shape. It's a double spreader rig. The standing rigging is at least 10 years old, and these showing a little bit of oxidation. This thing is having some issues leaking, so I'm not sure if that's a very good boot for the mast. It might need some work. Big hatch up front, and this one's over the V-berth. Most everything's in pretty decent shape. I'm seeing some rubber rust. There's definitely oxidation on this stuff. The sails are almost new. They're only like 3 or 4 years old, so that's a real big plus. Jib tracks all the way down. So that's the air conditioning cooling water. The push pit has an integrated ladder, which I really like because it sort of creates the top of the rail. And you can drop that down and climb in and out of the water pretty easily with handholds all the way up. It's got a nice fiberglass tow rail here to keep you from sliding off the boat.
I like this boat. The price was right, but it was 800 miles from home, and it's hurricane season.
All right, this is a Catalina 309. It's 31 foot. And she's really beamy. The running rigging is okay. This needs to be replaced. The core is broken. Oh, that's actually the continuous rotor reefing for the mainsail. So this is the sugar scoop kind of side. There's also a drop-down swim ladder, which, man, there's a lot of oxidation. I'm surprised. The walk-through transom. Under here is just access to the hatch. It would be right over the aft cabin. It's gonna be the propane locker. Yep. It's got a nice aluminum propane tank. It's got a bimini and a Dodger. Don't have the canvas on. Self-tailing winch here. And there's this one. These are small winches. Oh, it's a 24. It's not that bad. The helm, the binnacle, whatever you want to call it, is covered up, so I was able to look at it. Roller furling mast. Everything's sheeted back to the cockpit. So the traveler car lines run to these clam cleats. But yeah, most of the running rigging is either needing replacement or really close. This is the winch that actually controls the furler in the main. Would like to get some of the sail out. It does not look like this thing has been used in a while. It's got a double spreader rig, which I'm surprised on a 31 footer. Pretty heavy rigging. All the stainless steel, it has that silky feel of brand new steel, like it's got a coating on it almost. But this is a little bit concerning, is the chain plate showing a lot of oxidation here, and this next one here. That's problematic actually. Hatches on the deck look like they're in decent shape. They're not crazed or anything. I don't see any cracked plastic on the hardware, the latches or anything. Just the beginning of crazing on this one.
Between the condition of the chain plates and the condition of the interior was kind of a mess. I lost interest in this boat, and it was a 6-hour drive round trip.
Alright, this is nice and solid now. This is the second batch. This is the stuff that's actually going to glue it down. This mix actually has some wax, so I know I'm going to have a good set and I won't have a bunch of sticky stuff on the very top. And I can't take too much time because it is flipping hot. It's probably about 98 degrees in here. Let's just pour this in there. That should do it. Hopefully I won't have an overflow. I've already sanded and cleaned the bottom of this. And we'll just drop this in here. Just right. No overflow. And I'm just going to put this weight on there just to keep it from floating up. All right. Hopefully we're getting a reading. All right, it's working. It's bouncing around because it's seeing the bunk that's holding the boat. I've got it down, but every now and then it swings over to it, and that kind of gets in the way of the bottom sounding. It's working. What's the general opinion out there, you guys who have owned boats and maybe gone through the same thing where you've wanted a bigger boat, maybe got it and were happy, or maybe you bought a bigger boat and wish you hadn't? I'd really like to hear some input from some of you folks out there who've had a lot more experience than I have. I do want to get a bigger boat eventually, but maybe not now. Anyway, I will be doing more boat projects, and if you guys have anything in particular that you'd like to see, let me know. Today won't be a good day for sailing. There's a couple big squalls rolling in, so I'm gonna pack up and go home. Plus, it's like 100 degrees. I'll see you guys on the next video.